Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Critique. Again, in critique, we try to give a brief critique on current events, relevant events, relevant subjects, scripture. So today, in this presentation, we're going to talk about the restoration. So let's proceed. Now, what is the restoration? We're going to give you an audio of the scriptures that pertain to it. The restoration is the restoration of all things. See, the restoration of the original nation, the resurrection. So when I play the verses, you probably better understand, at least from the biblical point of view. But it's the restoration. You have to know, understand the nature of the universe to understand what that's talking about. As we have said in the past, and continuously to say, the universe expands and contracts. The Quran reveals to us that the heavens and earth were one, and then the heavens were expanded. Well, it doesn't expand forever. It expands to a point, then it begins to contract again. And it continues doing that forever, without end. So at the expansion stage, full expansion stage, the heavens are the energy. The heavens are the energy. So all that energy is used to make the stars and the planets. It's where it used to be the atmosphere of the earth, now it's out there. That means us living on earth have less and less energy until the point we get to the point of energy deprivation, meaning we don't have enough energy to maintain our civilization, maintain ourselves, whatever. It's like a disease. So we have all the energy is out there, it's not here. See? And as the universe expands, is a concept they call entropy. That means everything comes apart. See, it's destructive, right? So it's a creative process, but things are destroyed in order to bring in new things, right? So that's the process. So it's entropy, like it says, everything tends towards death. But then, curiously, they don't have a term for the opposite effect. See, because they only see the universe, they've only witnessed the universe from that point of view, entropy, expanding, everything tending to destruction or tending towards decay. That's what entropy means. Things tending towards decay. Things coming apart, or tending towards death. But now they don't have any experience or understanding that the universe will one day begin to contract again and the process repeated. They talk about this so-called Big Bang, where the universe suddenly, somehow, it was the size of an atom, and this energy exploded, and the whole universe came out of this process. So they call it the Big Bang. So they have a question in mind is, first of all, where did this spark come from? And then secondly, if the universe will continue to expand forever until all the energy is exhausted and then there's no more. It goes back into nothingness. Because they don't have any concept, no experience of anything other than this. That's a theory, debate in their circles. But we know the universe will contract. And now it's in the process of contracting. It's in the contracting phase. That means the energy is returning. The Quran tells us that it returns in form of waves. The Bible calls it jubilees. Every 50 years, we get a wave of energy back, right, as the universe is contracting. So that's the restoration. The restoration began in 1860s, because at that point, the universe had been at its final, at maximum extension, and we were totally undone. As a people, we were totally undone because all the energy was in a severe state of energy deprivation at its maximum. That's what happens as the universe expands. When it gets to its fullest state of expansion, that means, right, that's the worst case. And then it starts contracting. So we got our first positive energy wave in the 1860s, which broke our physical chains from the fields. And 50 years later, mental. 50 years later, social. And now 50 years after that, we're going to break all chains because we're getting this burst of energy. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's the restoration. But see, during the restoration, it said there'll be labor pains because the nation would have to be born because it's all torn apart. It doesn't come, they come back apart. They come back together in the 1860s. The process began. And that's what it's talking about. So we'll see. We'll see as we move further into this. Okay, let's see. Bear with me for a second, brothers and sisters. Now the restoration, I said, began in the 1860s. Right? Master Fard Muhammad was born in 1877. See, he's part of the process. See, he came to herald the process by coming looking for us because he knew it would be scattered, broken down. Not broken, but nearly broken. No one can break the original nation. They can humble us, cripple us. They can't break us. They tried. So then he raised up Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad continued the process of preparing us for the complete restoration. It says Elijah will come and he will restore all things. What does that mean? See? It doesn't mean that it will be a complete resurrection. See? He will come and take and keep, he would have, no, he would kick the process into full gear. See? Give us all the basic, tell us our history, right? And our God. So that's what it means. That's the restoration of all things. See? That's what it means. To bring us back, let me put it another way, to lay the foundation. He'll lay the foundation. See? Okay. So some people misinterpret that. They think, well, he's going to take us in the hereafter and everything. Many people thought that way because they misunderstood that verse. So that's what happened. See? So we're going to go into a little past history and try to explain this and the obstacles that we're facing. Now, Master Muhammad came and, like he said, he initiated the process. See, he's the God. Raised up Elijah. See, he came to remind us, because that was part of the restoration, because we was lost. We was totally lost. Wasn't broken, but we was totally lost. We had no knowledge of anything. Most of, if not all of us, was reduced to beasts, and even thought we were beasts. Because that's what they told us. They did the maximum harm they could do to a people short of breaking them. That's the story of Job. They was told they could do anything they wanted to Job, but they could not hurt him physically. See? I mean, they did hurt him. When they say hurt him physically, I mean, like, no, break him physically. Because they hurt him physically. Okay. He was had swords and everything. So we got to be careful of those verses, got to put in context to understand it. Otherwise, you get out of context and then you misunderstand those things. Because they did hurt Job. See? Because you see, they tell you, see all things happen to him. See? Okay. So, that happened, but their enemies are constantly trying to prevent it. They're doing everything to prevent this birth. The restoration, we're going to talk about that a little more in detail in a minute. So that happened. So Elijah Muhammad had to be removed. As it said, the one that was restraining had to be removed, because he was restraining the hypocrites and lies that was dead set on working masters' program to stop this birth. So that calls for Aaron, who was their man. He did everything, he would do everything he could to disrupt and turn our hearts back to the master and his plantation. So understand that. Okay, let's move on. So we would live under the umbrella, we'll live under the reign of Aaron for probably 40 years. They would call him the son of perdition. And he would make war with the saints and overcome them for 42 years. And that seems to be ignored, because he would come after Elijah. That's Aaron did, and they ignore that. They just totally ignore that. They know all of it. So he said, why are they ignoring it? Why are they ignoring it? We're going to see in a minute why they're ignoring it. See? But primarily because they're mostly demons. And they're set there to take to steal a reminder from us. See, Elijah Muhammad was reminded. They steal that reminder from us, because they want to do everything they can to stop this birth. Because that's what it says. This restoration was akin or analogous to a birth, because we was torn apart. And so coming back together, that means that's the new birth of a new nation. See, that's what's talking about in Malachi. I mean, not Malachi, but talking about Melchizedek and Hebrews, or the death of Christ. See, that death, in other words, he had to die, then be raised to life. So energy deprivation means we died. We died as a nation. See? And the restoration means we come back to life forever, eternal life. You see? But there's our enemies that want to make sure we stay dead. That's what it's all about. Because we died as a nation, suffered from energy deprivation. Now we're being restored. So let's move on and see if we can make sense of this.
Okay, hear the verses, listen carefully. Just a minute, let me back up here. I forgot something here. Just give me a minute, brothers and sisters.
Okay, listen to no, back up. Just 1 second here. 1 second, hold on. One second. Okay, here we go.
For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope, because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pangs together until now. Not only that, but we also who have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, eagerly waiting for the adoption, the redemption of our body. For we were saved in this hope, but hope that is seen is not hope, for why does one still hope for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we eagerly wait for it with perseverance.
Okay, brothers and sisters, a second here. A second here.
Okay, what does that all mean? You can read at your leisure. That's what it's talking about. See, it says the creation was groaning. It says it was in the bondage of corruption. That's another way of saying entropy. See, everything going to decay. But in the resurrection, it tends towards life everlasting. See, but the new body had to come into being because it had died during the expansion, during energy deprivation. So now it's groaning. So our body is growing to come back because we're, as I've been trying to explain, that we are one body. We think we're individuals, but we're not. We're part of one body. The Christians call the body of Christ, but we're part of one. We are Allah. We're all parts. You have Allah, the Holy Spirit, that's mathematics. Allah, the body, that's us as a nation, as Elijah Muhammad said. He says Allah means all of us. So we're a body. We're all individuals. We think we're individuals, but we're not because we're connected. We just don't realize we're connected because our connection has been disrupted. It's been cut. That's the ability to tune in. Once that's reestablished, right, we realize we're one body, one people. Okay. So I hope you understand that. So what I'm going to show here is, this is analogous to our body, right? Those are electrons and protons and neutrons. The red are protons, the black are neutrons. A proton is just a spinning neutron. That's when you make it cause a neutron to spin, becomes a proton. It produces waves. See, it spins. It causes to have a torque. See, which is actually an electron. But I'm not going to that kind of detail here. So we're going to use analogy. We're going to say the neutrons are the female, and the protons are the male. You need the two together, right? Okay. Now, carbon atom, right, has actually, I think I misrepresented that. Hold on for a second, brothers and sisters. I want to make sure I get this absolutely right, because someone will say, "Hey man, what are you talking about over there?" Hold on. Just give me 1 second here. Let me check out something. One second. Okay. 1 second. Okay, I made an error there. Okay, I made an error there. That's okay. I realized what I did. I copied the wrong one in, but we can still work with this. A carbon atom has 6 protons or 6 neutrons. I just have 3 I have half what it's supposed to be. I have half of what it's supposed to be, right? So we're just going to say, hold on, brothers and sisters, I don't want to leave it like this. Because if I do it like this, I know it's going to be a whole lot of noise. Just 1 second here. 1 second here. I should go back and get the original one I had. I copied in the wrong presentation. Okay. Oh boy. This is really okay. We're gonna do it like this. 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 Like this. Yeah. It's not an accurate depiction, but at least the number is correct. I'm going to leave it like because people say, "Oh man, see, you can get that right." Okay, we leave it like that. Okay. Give me a second, brothers and sisters. Apologize for inconvenience here. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Okay. Okay, a carbon atom has 6 protons and 6 neutrons. Now I'm only going to depict it as 3 and 3 going forward. I'm not going to change the whole presentation. I already started, but just so you know that we know what an actual carbon atom is. It's 6 protons and 6 neutrons, right? Has a common atomic weight of 12. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, okay? But going forward, I'm only going to show 3 and 3 as to represent a carbon atom. I want everybody to know that we know what it's really supposed to be. For the sake of this presentation, sake of brevity, we're going to continue on like this. Okay. So we're saying that's the original nation. It was together 50,000 years ago. See? Male and female. See? Okay? They represent a carbon atom. Right? See, the simplest atom is a proton. That's just the red one. Simplest one. Neutron, that would be the female part of it. That's simplest. It's called a hydrogen atom. Right? Okay. Now, carbon, that's the atom that makes up diamonds. Okay? So now I'm only going to represent it as being 6, it should be 12, right? Okay, but 6,000 years ago, right, we came apart. We started coming apart 50,000 years ago. By 6,000 years ago, we was all separated. And so that's when Dr. Yakub came along with his hydrogen atoms. See? So I'm representing them. They should be red and black, just like the other one, but I'm showing them blue and white because I want to show the difference between them and the other ones, right? Okay, so male and female, right? Now the difference is that a carbon atom, right, is 12 parts to it, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, right? But it's a unit, it's an atom, so all the pieces have to be together. But if it's scattered, that means it's not viable anymore. But a hydrogen atom, it doesn't have that because, I mean, it's one, that's fine. There's one atom. See, hydrogen. And the female, the neutron, is fine. That's a structure, it's a simple structure. So when you think about that, you say, well, I've been saying like everyone gets like $1,000 a day. Let's say everybody gets $100 a day. Every individual gets $100 a day, right? Okay. So all the black ones and the red ones, they get $100 a day, each individual one. So altogether, if that was 12 there, we're going to just talk about the 6, right? Okay. That's representing 12, but I'm saying we're going to just refer to it as 6. Keep it simple for the graphics here. That would mean that altogether that would be 600. If everyone's getting $100 a day, they would have 600. Okay, then the hydrogen, each one of those would have 100 individually. Each one of those have 100. But as a structure, right, the hydrogen is fine. But the carbon is not fine because he got, but remember, there's the body is all separated. Each has 100, but it's all separated. They have the same, have individual, but they're not, they look like individuals, they're not individuals. So that means $100 a day for them means they're separated. See, $100 each a day means they're separated. Where $100 a day for hydrogen, they're not separated, they're together. Hope you understand. Because the carbon, remember, that's all together, that's one body. Hydrogen, just one atom, that's one body. But the carbon, 6 protons and 6 neutrons mean one body. But for hydrogen, just one proton is a body with its, a female counterpart, the neutron. Let me say it again. The carbon is one body made of 6 protons, 6 neutrons. But they're separated now because each one gets 100, right? So they have just as much as the hydrogen, but they individually have it, but they're one part of the body. So the body, that's not enough to maintain the body. The body is separated. Maybe the next illustration will say a little better. So being separated, the hydrogen could come in and dismantle us. Remember, we're dismantled. We're all separated. We have as much as them, but we're separated. They're not separated. They're united. But we're separated because we need to have all those put together to be viable, to be a viable body. But they're not. They're united. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I try to explain this as eloquently as possible. So they're united. See? Because they're just simple hydrogen atoms. But the carbon atom, he's divided because as a being, he has to be all together, as we saw in the first one. Okay, let's go to the next one. So then, they moved out. They had all separated. They moved out after raping us and everything, and they let them see those polygons or whatever you want to call them. Those are demons. They look like us, walk like us, but they're the hydrogen seed. So they're in the middle of us, keeping us divided. See? And they're successful too because they're not, right? They only need one. See? It's simple. There's a hydrogen atom. They're united. See? They're individuals. But we're not individuals. We're a body. And our body is all separated. See? But they're not separate. They're united because they're only one proton. And with their, corresponding neutron, female, but they that's as much unity as they have. So they're united. And we're divided. And now they moved out and moved the demons in, and they make sure we stay divided. They right in the middle, keep us up because they look like us, walk like us, but they're not us. They skin tone, that's about it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So that's what they're trying to prevent. Because remember I said carbon atom, that's a diamond atom. That's what diamonds are made of, carbon. So we come back together and we force the demons out. And the devil's out. Now, I'm only showing 6 there, but it should be 12. We're carbon atom. That means we're very complicated. It means we got all kinds of attributes. See? Things that we can do all kinds of things they can't do because they're simple. It's like alphabet, all they got is an A in the alphabet. And we got 26 letters in the alphabet, so we can make all kinds of words and stuff because we got all these letters. They only got one. All they can do is say A. And we can write words, we can do all kinds, because we have all the letters. So we have all these qualities. See? We have all these qualities, all these attributes. Once we're united, now we're one body. See? And what I'm not showing here is that, right, that's under intense pressure, because it takes intense pressure to make a diamond. But by the time it reaches that, the hydrogen is moving so fast because it comes mass time acceleration equals force. So now the force that brought us together has moved them moving extremely fast, and that means pressure. And pressure means colliding. They're colliding with each other. That's war. Like I said, the collision, the intensity of the collisions. So the intensity of collisions are very fatal. So now they're at war. They're fighting with each other. That makes us diamonds. Because we use our energy, see, because when we were, let me put this back here like this. Now, it takes energy to do everything requires energy. So to come together, see, all of us had $100 a day, but they were successful because they in this, right? They used $100 a day, doing their thing. But our $100 a day was required to bring that unity together, bring us back together. See, our energy was applied in that direction. So we wasn't doing as well as them because our energy looked like we wasn't doing anything. Because our energy was being used to bring us back together. Where the energy was used, right, for this world's life, they was enjoying this world's life, right? Buying cars, Lamborghinis, houses, all kinds of stuff. Because their energy, they didn't require energy for unity. But we probably, because we wasn't complete. Our body was trying to come back together. See? And that's what Suleiman's role is, to bring it all, to have a focal point where it all comes back together. So you have to, when things come in, it has to be at the focal point. He's the focal point what brings it all together. So that's their success, is in coming back together. Like I said, doing slavery or so-called slavery, when they denied us, closed every door to us, every possible door to success. The only way the energy we was getting, right, was used, since every door was closed, to produce a better seed. So we produced the best seed we could possibly produce. That's the people that we are now. That's going through the furnace of affliction. That intense pressure caused us, by them doing what they did, they actually caused us to produce the best seed possible, because we couldn't do anything else. They blocked every aspect, anything else we could do with energy we had. So it was the best seed. So now, at this point, right, if we continue living like they living, if we live like they live and go ahead and do, then we wouldn't come back together, because our energy would be used for that purpose. That's what they want us to do. They want us to continue accept this world's life, except being here, right? Except we're not going anywhere, and then live like them. That way we won't use energy for unity, because we come back together. We come back together in a whole new form, in the form of carbon, which has all kinds of qualities and attributes and things that they don't have, because there's an A, and we the whole alphabet. All they can do is say one word, AAA. We can say carbon, everything. We can say all kinds of words, because you can put up words, all these combinations. So if you only got one, your combination is very simple. If you got two, your combination is simple. So the more letters you have, the more combinations you can have. See? So that's the point. That's the point. That's why they making sure we don't come back together. Because we come back together, we come back to a nation. We come back as a new creation. That's what it says. That this nation is trying to stop this birth. It's like a bunch of what they would call them, mentally challenged people trying to prevent the birth of a genius. They wouldn't want that. But they know what happened to them. And that's, in the word, that's what's happening here. Because we come together back as we were, because we not as you see us. They have us amongst them, have us living like them and everything. That's not us. We are Allah. And we coming back together. And when our power to tune in is restored, then we realize that we're one people. That's why I keep saying we're one people, but we're scattered. And once we come, they can't come together like that because they're just hydrogen. It's simple. But that was their power because they didn't require energy for unity because they was very simple. See? But we, if you look at these as an individual, right? Okay, another way to look at this. I'm not sure I'm getting this message across. But say this is an individual here, right? And say this is an individual here, right? This is one family. This one. This says one proton. Here's an individual. Well, no, well, we'll say okay. This is one unit, right here, right? And say this is an individual here. Well, look how much more complicated this individual here is. This individual. He has better structure, more sophisticated, and everything. Remember, this really represents 12 rather than 6. But we left it like that because I pulled in the wrong one. I don't want to do the presentation over again. So but it says it represents 12. So this represents only 2. So this doesn't need much energy to maintain this unity. This needs a lot of energy. If this is 2 and this is 12, this needs 6 times as much energy to maintain this than this does. So at time energy deprivation, when it's enough just to maintain this comes apart because it can't maintain itself. But once it comes together, look how much more complex this is than this is. Look how much wiser it is. How much stronger it is than that. That's why they want to keep you divided like them. Hold on, back up here. They want to keep you divided like them. That way they can control you. This is more than knowledge because that's the way it works, brothers and sisters. So they want to keep you divided so you be like them. Think you're individuals. Because whenever you come together, that's the end of them. So they make you think you're an individual when you're not an individual. Brothers and sisters, we are not individuals. We are like I said, we're like brain cells of Allah. We're not individuals. That's what they want you to think. Once we come together as one nation with one super brain, one super mind. Because all our brains are connected to. That's what they don't want you to happen. As long as they keep you divided like that, they can control you. That's why I got demons to make sure you stay divided. See? That's what's going on here. See, you got Farrakhan talking about bringing devils to NOI. Well, that's putting them back that's getting back here. See, that's going backwards. See? At some point, they saw that wasn't going to be sustained. They said, let's move out, let's move the demons in. See, this is where it was back on the fields. It's like, let's move out, let's move the demons in. Because they was too obvious, so we could see them clearly. But the demons, it was hard to see. So he's bringing devils and NOI, and we ain't going anywhere, and all that stuff he's talking about. See? He's talking nation, but he's talking about sign. He's not really talking nation, is he? If he's going to bring devils and NOI. So you understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? I hope you understand this. I'm trying to make it mathematically clear as possible. See? So, because if he brings men, that's what happens to keep us all divided. Because he's trying to say, by bringing them in, he's saying we're one people. And we're not. That's what he's saying. See? So that's race mixing. Wouldn't it be race mixing? Elijah Muhammad said we'd be fools to stay in the land of our imprisonment. He said no race mixing. Both ideas, Farrakhan is misrepresenting. In fact, he's not even supporting either one of those ideas. They moved out. Oops. I went back the wrong way. They moved out and they let demons move in. They're in, keep us divided. They're doing everything to keep that from happening. Because we come together, we are a new creation. That's the restoration. That's what that's all about. See? Now we have the energy to do it. But they don't want us to use that energy for unity. They want us to use the energy to do like they're doing, partying, NFL, and all that kind of stuff. Because you can use energy like you wish, any way you wish. But then you still stay divided, and you're still weak, and they can still control you. But the original people, those who are waking up, they're using their energy for unity purposes. And they're the ones coming together. They're the elect that's going to be taken out of here during the tribulation. Why? Because they're unified. And they communicate with the God at that point. But that's what they're trying to prevent. And that's why the demon's in there to make sure you stay divided, because they want you to think you're an individual. You're an individual, do what you want. And you got a lot of our people buying into that. We're not. And that's why you're going to stay weak and under their control. See? Because your nature is always going to take and siphon some of your energy off, because you're not going to be able to apply energy to this world's life 100% like they do, because your nature is going to be seeking to come back to your body. Because we're all a part of the body. We're a part of Allah. We're not individuals. We're not independent. The Quran tells you, think you're independent, you're not. They are. We're not. See? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I'm going to leave it there. This is the judgment. See, we change a twinkle of an eye, come back to being diamond, pure diamond this time. That's the resurrection, because we tried in the furnace of affliction, pure diamond. Right? The demons are kicked out, and devils are kicked out. Because the devils, they had the same nature as the devils. See, but they had a complexion of us. But they have some rough edges. And if you understand those rough edges, you can detect them. They're not undetectable. But some of you can't detect them. That's my job, right? To expose them. Okay, brothers and sisters. We're going to leave it there. Right? This is a call to action, brothers and sisters. Our people are about to wake up when this war starts. And those of you that are waking up, become a beacon. It's called to action. Become a beacon. Get out the way here so you can see this. Can you see? Okay, let me change this a little bit. I think you cannot see this too well. Okay, that's a little better. Okay. Okay, contact information. Learn the angel. Be a beacon for our people, because it's going to get intensely dark. Time of unprecedented trouble. It's going to be dark for them, those who don't have this light, but for those who have light, it's going to be extremely bright. Because our light is their darkness. Their light is our darkness. So, as our people start coming together, like I said, Suleiman, he's a focal point. for the people to come together when that time happens. So we set up beacons all over the country, right? You know what a beacon is? A beacon is like a lighthouse, right? That constantly have a spinning light. So ships, right, they don't run up on the shore and wreck themselves. So with beacons, so you see, so that we set up beacons because when this time comes, people will come running in. And they're going to need a light to guide them. So if you can, brothers and sisters, come and help us. Be a beacon. There's no obligations. We don't want your money. We don't want to tell you what to do. We want to help our people. So if you want to be a beacon, contact us. Assalamu alaikum.